Sometimes the loudest place in the world is the one where you're the only voice. I saw my reflection rippling alone under the moonlight, and for a moment, I thought it waved back. So I waved again. It waved again. And I thought, oh, so this is what humans call company. The wind disagreed. It moved the water. My face broke into 1,000 tiny frogs and vanished. That's when I heard it. A sound far away over the black edge of my pond. Not crickets, not nightbirds, not the soft rustle of reeds. A human noise, a kind of quiet thunder trapped behind walls. Laughter and something that sounded like crying, but wrapped in music. So many voices together, and somehow it still felt lonely from here. I live in a muddy bowl of water that never stops chewing on the sky. The moon falls into it every night and crawls back out every morning. Old leaves sleep in the corners. A broken glass bottle sticks out like a crooked tooth. Someone once threw a metal ring in here. Plants have already started to eat it. This is my kingdom. I sit on a mossy rock that used to be part of a bigger rock. Dragonflies visit me like nervous messengers. The snails are my slow advisors. The flies are my unwelcome thoughts. I have all I need. Mud, silence, and a sky that keeps changing its mind. Humans, though. Humans build nests on top of each other. I can see them. Stacked lights in the distance, like fireflies trapped in stone. They live so close their walls must be touching. Sometimes I watch them through their bright square holes at night. There's the woman who stares at a glowing flat stone on her lap, her face lit up like moon water, but her eyes are heavy, like wet feathers. There's the man who talks into a tiny black shell pressed to his ear, pacing back and forth as if he's lost something he never had. There are groups of them, sitting together around little suns on tables, shouting, laughing, lifting glass cups. But each of them keeps touching a small, silent rectangle, like they are checking if their shadows are still there. Humans are never really alone, and yet they invented a word for feeling alone. They called it loneliness. Interesting. If I were a human, I would have done the opposite. I would have invented a word for finally being left in peace. From my muddy throne, I have decided this. Loneliness must be a kind of echo that refuses to come back. When I croak at night, the pond answers. The trees answer. Sometimes another frog answers from very far away, like a memory with legs. But I think humans shout into places that don't echo. Rooms stuffed with objects that never speak. Walls that swallow sound and keep it. Screens that glow but never look back. They sit inside boxes filled with chairs, cups, papers of promises, and little machines that blink and hum. They send their voices through invisible threads in the air, so they can talk to someone who is not there while ignoring someone who is there. To a frog, that seems backwards. When I want to talk to another frog, I open my mouth. If no one answers, I know I am alone. It is simple. It is clean. It is honest. Humans complicate this. They can feel lonely even when their ears are full of other people. How efficient. How impressive. Maybe loneliness for them isn't about how many others are near. Maybe it's about how far away they feel from themselves. I once watched a human child by the pond. He threw pebbles into the water, one after another, with a strange anger, as if he wanted to break the sky's face. Each stone made a ripple. Each ripple reached my rock, touched my toes, then faded. The boy's shadow shook. His face did too. His hand lifted to wipe water from his eyes, though it wasn't raining. Then someone called his name, sharp as a snapped twig. He turned. He went back. The ripples kept moving long after he had gone. I decided then that loneliness must be like those ripples. It begins where you touch something, and it keeps going even after you walk away. Humans touch each other all the time, with words, looks, promises, and quiet disappointments. Their ripples must be unbearable. But there is an error in my theory. I, too, sit alone. Almost every night it is just me, the moon drowning over and over, and the mud sighing under my weight. By human standards, I should be lonely. No one is beside me. No one asks how my day was. No one understands my most brilliant croaks. Yet I do not feel what they feel. I feel something else. There is an emptiness, yes. A wide, still space inside my chest, like the calm part of the pond where no wind reaches. But to me, that space is not a wound. It is a room. It is where my thoughts lie down and stretch their legs. Humans seem to fear that room. When they enter it, they call it loneliness. They try to fill it with noise, lights, faces, until the walls disappear. I sit in that room every night. I know the pattern of its cracks. I have given each shadow a name. Maybe that means I am not lonely. Maybe it means I am simply with myself. Or maybe this is the most advanced form of loneliness, and I am too much of a frog to understand. Here is a strange thing I've noticed. Humans say they are lonely, but they also fear being alone. They long for someone to see them, to say, "I notice you. You exist." Yet when they finally sit by themselves, with no other voices, they rush to escape, as if they are afraid they might see their own reflection rippling under the moonlight, and realize it does not wave back. Tonight, when I thought my reflection greeted me, my heart hiccuped. For a breath, I felt a tiny panic. What if that's not me? I wondered, what if something else lives in this pond, wearing my face? Then the ripples broke, and the illusion went with them. It was just me again, just the same old frog. Alone, but not empty. I realized something then. Humans want another person to tell them who they are, so they do not have to sit with their own unclear reflection. If no one looks at them, they begin to disappear in their own minds. If no one calls their name, they forget how it sounds. Loneliness for them might simply be the fear that they are fading from their own story. I do not have this problem. I am always with me. I cannot escape myself. When I try to jump away, I land on another part of me. The mud knows me. The rock remembers my weight. The pond carries the shape of my body even when I dive under. If this is loneliness, it is a very loyal one. So here's my foolish, muddy wisdom. Loneliness is not the absence of others. It is the absence of a gentle voice inside you that says, "Yes, I see you." Even when no one else does. I am here. Humans look for that voice in other throats. Sometimes they find it. More often they don't. But they forget they can grow that voice for themselves, quietly like moss on a stone. Slow, soft, patient. I dip my toes into the water. The ripples move out, circle the moon, and fade into the dark. The night is huge. The world beyond my pond is full of humans who feel small in rooms full of noise. I am a frog on a rock in a forgotten puddle of sky, watching my reflection refuse to stay still. Maybe I am lonely. Maybe I am not. All I know is this. In the end, every ripple disappears. Every voice goes quiet. And what remains is the soft breathing of the mud and the pale eye of the moon, watching, watching, watching. If you hear me croak again, it means I've found another story bubbling up from the bottom of this pond. You're welcome to sit on the bank and listen, even if we are both alone on our own side of the water.